Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro remained absent at a rally in downtown Caracas, where hundreds of supporters gathered to listen to him following the drone attack in Maduro's speech a few days ago. Safety reasons are being cited for the Prime Minister's no-show. The drone attack at the televised rally is being called a failed assassination attempt on Maduro's life, and Venezuelan authorities have gone as far as blaming Colombia and the US for it. Student protests in Bangladesh have finally yielded some results. Students protested for a ninth day over the deaths of two teenagers killed by a speeding bus in Dhaka. Bangladesh's cabinet on Monday approved raising the maximum jail time for rash driving deaths to 5 years from 3. The law minister also added that the deliberate running over of people will draw murder charges and carry the death sentence. Son of jail Bahraini opposition leader Hassan Mushahaima is on a hunger strike outside Bahrain's London embassy. Ali Mushahaima claims that his father is being denied vital medical care in jail. 70-year-old Hassan Mushahaima was arrested in 2011 along with other Shiite activists and opposition figures and sentenced to life in prison for leading anti-government protests that year at the height of the region's Arab Spring uprisings. Bangladesh police have arrested a prize-winning photographer for what they call provocative comments in an Al Jazeera interview about student protests that gripped the country for over a week. A heavy-handed response to the protest over road safety left more than 100 injured as police fired tear gas and rubber bullets and mobs attacked demonstrators, photographers and even the US ambassador's car. Rick Gates, business associate of US President Donald Trump's former campaign chairman Paul Manafort, on Monday testified at a trial and said that he helped Manafort file false tax returns and hide his foreign bank accounts. Paul Manafort was President Trump's one-time campaign chairman and is being prosecuted by the special counsel investigating Russian interference in the 2016 US presidential elections. Pakistan's Prime Minister-elect and PTI Chairman Imran Khan will adhere to a call-up notice issued by the National Accountability Bureau of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province. The agency reissued a call-up notice to the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf chairman to appear before a combined investigation team on August 7th in the case of allegedly misusing the two helicopters of the provincial government. US President Donald Trump reimposes sanctions on Iran, which were lifted in 2015 as part of the Iran nuclear deal during the Obama administration. However, he said his government remains open to forging a more comprehensive deal with the Islamic Republic. Reacting to the sanctions, President Hassan Rouhani said that the US is isolated in the world and will regret imposing sanctions on Iran. A Brazilian judge has ordered the border crossing from Venezuela closed to Venezuelan immigrants who are fleeing their country's economic and political turmoil. But the border remained open on Monday pending an appeal by the federal government. Hundreds of Venezuelans continue to walk into Brazil seeking safety and better economic conditions. After a weekend of gun violence in the city of Chicago that left 12 people dead and dozens more wounded, the Chicago mayor said there was a shortage of values as he called on people who knew the shooters to report them. Chicago continues to have the highest rates of violent crimes in the U.S. with more than 300 murders recorded up until July this year. Last week, protesters took to the streets demanding law enforcement authorities to make the city a safer space. Police raided flats in India's northern state of Uttar Pradesh and rescued 24 girls who had been forced into the sex trade. The girls were taken from an illegal shelter home. Police were tipped off after one of the victims escaped and reached a women's police station to file a complaint. The Government National Commission for the Protection of Child Rights estimates that over 1,300 shelter homes for children in India remain unregistered and escape the radar of authorities. In the West African country of Mali, electoral fraud suspicions have aroused ethnic tensions. The leader of the Malian opposition has accused the incumbent president Ibrahim Boubacar of stuffing the ballot boxes in the first round of the presidential elections last month. Violence disrupted the first round of elections in several areas beset by ethnic and jihadist unrest despite the deployment of 30,000 security personnel. The international community, including the UN mission in the country and French forces, have put high hopes in the poll which could revive a peace agreement signed in 2015 between the government and the government-allied groups and former rebels. The Turkish lira tumbled to a record low against the dollar after the Trump administration said that it was reviewing Turkey's duty-free access to US market, a move that could affect someone $66 billion worth of imports. Relations between Turkey and the US have steadily worsened, strained by differences over Syria policy and an escalating row over the trial in the Turkey of an American Christian pastor, Andrew Brunson. American multinational PepsiCo announced the exit of their current CEO, Indra Nooyi. The company said that Nooyi would step down as its long-time chief executive officer, handing over the reins to company veteran Ramon Laguarta. The change in leadership will take effect in October this year, and Laguarta will also join the board of the company. The announcement comes at a time the beverage maker navigates a shrinking global soda market. American motorcycle manufacturer Harley-Davidson is scouting for a partner to make lightweight motorcycles for use in India and other Asian markets. The Milwaukee-based company, known for its heavy touring motorcycles, said last week it would launch a 2050cc to 500cc motorcycle in India to boost sales in the world's largest two-wheeler market as it grapples with an aging customer base and falling sales in the US. Swedish furniture maker IKEA will launch its first Indian outlet in the southern Indian city of Hyderabad on August 9th. The IKEA Group CEO Jesper Brodin will attend the launch of the company's first store in India. IKEA already has 403 stores in 49 countries across the world and has been sourcing its products from India for the last 30 years. In the next few years, the company plans to further expand to other Indian metropolitan cities like Bangalore, Mumbai, Delhi and Chennai. Social networking giant Facebook says it plans to deepen business links with banks and financial institutions, saying it can help the firms improve their customer service. The social media company said users of financial firms such as PayPal, Citibank and American Express could link their financial accounts with Facebook's Messenger and chat with a customer service representative. Brazil is set to vaccinate 11 million children amidst a measles outbreak in the country. The outbreak, it has affected more than 1,000 people and killed 5 children, coming shortly after the disease was eradicated in 2016. Health officials believe that the outbreak has been spurred by a mass exodus of people from Venezuela who are fleeing the country because of an economic and political crisis. Out of the 43 latest suspected cases of Ebola in the Democratic Republic of Congo, 16 have been now confirmed. Local health officials, along with WHO workers, have been setting up refrigerators to store the vaccines needed. The fresh outbreak comes weeks after an outbreak in northwestern Congo, 2,500 miles away, was declared over. WHO officials have also expressed concerns of conducting the vaccination drives amidst a volatile atmosphere in the country. Rescue and relief efforts are underway after 93 people were killed in an earthquake in Indonesia. The 6.9 magnitude earthquake hit the tourist island of Lombok on Sunday evening. National Disaster Mitigation Agency said that the death toll was expected to rise once a rubble of more than 13,000 houses was cleared away after 2 powerful earthquakes in a week. Wildfires continue to rage in Portugal's southern Algarve tourist region. Strong winds fan the blaze and forced the evacuation of a nearby village. The fire has injured 25 people and spread quickly over the weekend as a heat wave swept large parts of Europe. Now, more than 1,000 firefighters battled resurging flames as huge fires swept the forested hills. Temperatures in Portugal reached a peak of nearly 47 degrees Celsius, and forecasters predict that most of Portugal will continue to reel under intense heat. As Europe continues to reel under an intense heat wave, climate researchers warn that the world is on the brink of turning into a global hothouse. Temperatures in Spain, Portugal and Greece crossed the 40 degrees Celsius mark this summer, causing droughts and wildfires of massive proportions. The Mendocino complex fire continues to rage in Northern California, and firefighters say that may take another 9 days for the blaze to subside. The fire has scorched over 270,000 hectares of land and has become the second largest wildfire in the history of the state. President Donald Trump declared a state of emergency in the state, highlighting the ferociousness of this year's fire season. In a bid to tackle pollution and hot weather, Paris has imposed a restriction on polluting cars entering the city, thanks to the windscreen sticker system, which allows policy to carry out vehicle checks for those displaying stickers with a classification of more than 3 that are assigned to the most polluting cars. Temperatures in France are expected to reach their peak in a heat wave that has engulfed large parts of Europe. More than 40 rescuers in the Gulf of Mexico near the eastern island of Isla Contoy successfully towed a beached fin whale out to sea. college student in southwest China has succeeded in growing rice on the surface of a fish pond. Li Meng, a student of agriculture, started researching after finding fish in a pond often suffocated for lack of oxygen. He tried to use plastic plates to grow rice and let them float on the water surface. In this way, oxygen no longer needed to be injected into the pond round the clock, and the rice grows well without the use of fertilizers. This new technique is expected to help fish farmers grow rice without extra resources. In Morocco, the ruins of an ancient city have been revived and tourism reinvigorated. The ancient city of Volubilis is situated in a fertile plain at the foot of Mount Zerhon. The sprawling remains of Morocco's oldest Roman site, the city has survived pillage and long periods of neglect. After decades of decay, the city ruins are now open for tourists to view. Turkish authorities on Monday conducted a hugely sensitive operation to move a centuries-old bathhouse weighing 1,600 tons to a new location to avoid being engulfed under floodwater by a controversial dam project. The Atakulu Hammam bathhouse in a southeastern town was loaded onto a wheel platform and then moved down a specially constructed road to a new location in a process that took several hours. American sitcom actor Charlotte Ray, best known for her role in the 1980s sitcom The Facts of Life, died Sunday in Los Angeles. The 92-year-old actor's career spanned 6 decades. In her first public comments since an overdose put her into the hospital, pop star Demi Lovato said she remains committed to overcoming addiction. "I will keep," the singer wrote on Instagram. US President Donald Trump tweeted that former NBA player LeBron James was interviewed by the dumbest man on television, referring to CNN anchor Don Lemon. Lemon made LeBron look smart, which isn't easy to do. He added, the president ended his tweet by saying, "I like Mike," seeming to side with Michael Jordan in the debate over whether he or James is the greatest NBA player of all time. Ben Stokes has continued to deny affray charges in front of a Bristol court hearing allegations against the cricketer from a case from September 2017. The English all-rounder will miss the second test of his team's 5-match series against India, starting at Lord's this Thursday. As his trial extends through the week, Stokes was charged by Britain's Crown Prosecution Service for his involvement in a pub brawl in Bristol after a one-day international against West Indies in September last year. Meanwhile, Barcelona have unveiled Arturo Vidal as their fourth signing of the summer transfer window. The Chilean international made the switch from German champions Bayern Munich and has signed a 3-year contract with the Catalan Giants. The reigning Spanish champions reportedly paid an initial fee of €18 million that could rise up to €21 million.